Hi there. All set for another drawing? Okay, well, here we go. Well, in the original landing page for this course, you might have seen that we were going to do the basic shapes, which we've done. We're going to do the walnut, which we've done, the bucket, and and it's still life. And now it was time to do an animal of some sort. Now, I picked this one. It's a mountain lion. Now you see the outline already on my paper. What I did was this was the original the drawing that I had done of the mountain lion. So in order to save some time, I just retraced the outline of my own drawing and put it on a clean sheet of paper. So what we're going to do is we'll just go from there. I thought the mountain lion was kind of a cool thing to do because they truly are a beautiful animal. Dangerous, but beautiful. Years ago, my wife and I lived in Arizona, and there was a place out there called the Sonoran Desert Museum. And it was a kind of a zoo and botanical gardens all in one. And I was standing there one day, and right in front of me was a huge mountain lion that was asleep and just stretched out. And just the beauty of this animal, the paws, I mean, literally had to be like the EA big. I mean, it was huge, and you could see the strength of the animal and the beauty of it. And thank God there was a thick piece of glass in between me and him, because if that kitty woke up and was hungry, I was in big trouble. But they are truly a beautiful animal. So let's get started on this one. Now, we're gonna start with this ear. I'm gonna start with this ear. Now there's a dark area in the ear. You can see it here. See the dark area there, and there's the fur coming out. So we're gonna do just a little bit of the dark area, and we'll work the fur in as we go along. And I'm working right now with my 4B. It's actually going to wind up definitely being a 6B going in there because we want the inner part of the ear to be nice and dark. So we're just going to start it this way. And it's just the beginnings of the fur inside the ear and the shape of the ear. So now what I really do like to get the eyes done. So I think we're gonna do that. We're gonna get the shape of this eye in there the way it should be. And we're going to put a pupil in there. Now this eye is, in the original photo that I was looking at, is a little bit more in shadow than this eye. And around the big cat's eye is a very dark area. And it goes down into a shadow in here. So this is gonna be very deep. This is gonna go 6B for sure. Let me just put that little shadow in there for now. And I'm going to start very lightly, just putting in some fur or indication of fur up here. Now, of course, the mountain lion's fur is, it's not a curly fur. It's not a thick fur. It's kind of a short, very short fur on its face and its head. So I'm just doing short strokes pretty much in the direction that the fur would grow. The top of the head was fairly dark. in the original drawing, in the original photo. So I'm going to just put some of that darkness in there. And what I'm going to do is when I finish doing this, I'm going to just blend some of this in so that I could see where we're going and what we're going to need. You know, while I'm up here, I'm going to do the other ear also. This ear also has a lot of shadow right in here, and a lot of fur also in the ear. But we're going to start with the shadow here. Okay, so now I want to take my blender and I'm going to just blend this a bit here. We'll go back in later and we'll deepen some of that, but I want to get some of this as a more even kind of look to the fur, or value, I should say. So we'll just blend up along the top of his head here, up into that other ear, down into here. There's like a, his head kind of goes down. This is like a furrow in his brow. So I'm just gonna put that in there. Just deepen that a little bit. Okay. Let's take a 6B and let's go up here in the ear. And let's start working this a little deeper here. This is the ear cavity is right in here. So what we're going to do is we're going to indicate that this is fur. You can see they got pretty furry ears, that's for sure. That doesn't mean they don't hear well. Oh boy, do they hear well. Okay, we're going to deepen this a little bit here. Deepen it a little bit more here. We'll do some more blending too. Right now I just want to get an indication of that fur that's coming out of the ear, or swirling around in the ear, really. That's what it's really doing. Okay, we're going to deepen this area here. The top of the head. Going to add a little more depth in here of value. Okay. And again, I try to go mainly in the direction of the fur. This is very short fur. It might be, probably when you're doing very long fur, it's really important. But it helps to do it this way too, even though the fur is short. And it's a lot of little strokes with your pencil that starts building that look, that fur look in there. And this is that area of his head where there's a little a line, and it kind of it indents a little bit there. So we'll go in with the blender over here and we'll get that looking the way it should. This is a much darker area right above his eye. So we can put that in now, being we're working on this area. And come around here is a lighter area above the eye where the fur is actually much lighter. And that's right there. So we're going to keep deepening this area, though. We haven't finished here yet. So we're just going to go in and put some more fur lines in there. And we'll blend it. And we might have to go in again and put some additional fur, but that's okay. And we're getting toward the top of the nose. The fur is very short on the nose itself. Extremely short. It's very, it's hardly fur. It's like tiny hairs. It's right here about where the nose is. The actual nose. This is the bridge of the nose, I should call it that. There's very tiny little fur pieces in there. In fact, I think it would help if we go in and we do a little blending right now and bring it down, bring down some gray into the nose area here. And we'll put some more fur in there. Let's gray this out a bit here, or blend it out. There we go. Okay. Blend this a little bit more. We might as well bring some gray into here do it with just the blender right now. Go back in and put some fur in there later. Okay. Let's again go in with the 6 now. I'm going to put some really fine marks in there where the fur kind of goes in one direction and then it goes in another, right along that indentation, that furrow, whatever you want to call that, on his forehead. Okay. So now let's get this eye in there. I think we had done that with the other pencil. We're going to go in and deepen this now. Because that's a very dark area around the eyes. And then right underneath, it's where like the fur changes direction. It comes out this way and then along the cheek. So this is so light that you really don't even see much fur there. But what we're going to do is we're just going to put a little bit along the edge of that light area and create that ridge that's on his cheek. We'll call that his cheek. I guess that's what it is. Just go in a little bit more here. They got a couple of little darker spots above the eyes. Again, a lot of this is observation. Just taking a look at, your reference photo, whatever it is you're using as a reference photo. In this case, it's the one that I've given you. And my pressure on my pencil, even though it's a 6B and I'm still using the 6B here, but the pressure is being manipulated. It's in some places it's very light, in some places it's much heavier, so it's changing depending on what I feel that it needs at the moment. So here on this eye, this is, let's see, we've got some black along here also. And then it comes down into the bridge of the nose. And also, like here, has that area underneath the eye that's much lighter. It's probably either a very light tan or almost a white. Now let's put this pupil in here. Okay. A few more little hairs here on the nose, just so we know it is furry. Very tiny, tiny little marks. Okay. I'm going to switch. I'm going to go to my 2B, which is right here. Okay. And I'm going to, this is a fairly light area, so I'm going to just go in very lightly with the 2B and add some more of that shadow under the eye and have it come around the snout area. Then we'll blend that in too, so that it becomes just a gray area. Put a little more fur indication here. Of course, here on the edge, which is the side of his face. See, when they're looking right at you, they have this kind of a rounded face there. I guess he's pretty well fed, this guy. He don't seem to be too skinny, that's for sure. Got a chubby face. That's all right. I guess that means he's healthy. All right, let's add a little shadow in here. And we'll be blending this again. Another shadow under the eye. Okay. How about up here? A couple of little more lines up here. That couldn't hurt, huh? Oh, we got that dark area. This one has to go here over this side too, because they're kind of symmetrical. Basically the same kind of look. May not be exact, but it's pretty close. Okay, let me take the blender, go back in here. And we add in a little more depth to where the nose is, which is right in here. I'm going to just put a little gray there to indicate the nose. Now well, I guess it's the kind of the jowl. I don't know. It's the side of his mouth. It's where the whiskers come out. It's kind of gray. There's a gray that runs under the nose. You can see the nose starting to develop here. And this is more gray, and it goes into a kind of a white color, white fur. Same thing on this side. This side's actually a little darker than this side, so we'll deepen that in a little bit. Right now, I'm just, as you can see, I'm just putting it in with my blender. I'm not concerned too much about the depth of the gray right now, but just putting it in with my blender. Okay, then here, down here, there's another darker area. It's kind of like what he's got going on over here. There's also a darker area coming down this side of the face. So we'll let that match. We'll go back in now. We'll take our 4B. Well, the 6B. You know what? Maybe we'll go in. Now we'll go with the 4. 4 is good. Let's go back up into this ear here. We haven't done much up here yet. So let's kind of work the top of the head right now. So there's fur in this ear too. It's coming out this way. It's like that one's going that way. This one's going this way. And it gets pretty dark in here at the edge of the ear. And the ears are, you know, they're kind of bumpy, I guess you could say. Not perfectly smooth, this edge. Okay, let's put some more fur coming out this way. Just little thin strokes going in the direction of that fur will give an indication as to what it is. We're going to go in and blend that too. A little bit. Not too much. All right, let's get some fur up in here. Okay, those tiny little strokes, like about a zillion of them. And you finally start getting the look of the fur. But you have to do it. You got to have patience when you're doing something like this. Because any animal you do, even if you're doing, look, a domestic cat, a house cat, or you're doing a dog or a horse or whatever animal you might be doing, I mean, basically they all have fur and they're all going to be done pretty much the same way. Okay, so here in the nose is the nostril. And on this side is the nostril. And then it kind of goes out. You notice the the shadow fades into this shadow that's actually under the nose. It goes up into this area here. And still tiny little strokes. Just adding that fur look in there. There we go. Okay, now let's take our blender again. Let's go into this area here. Deepen this a little bit where it's that light area right under the eye. And then it blends out into a very soft gray or tan, a combination of gray and tan in the case of this fella. In the original photo that I had, found it on the internet somewhere. Excuse me. Hopefully somebody won't mind if we're using their photo. I'm not really copying it. I mean, we're doing our interpretation of this mountain lion. Not really an absolute copy of it. Okay, so Now, we're going to go back in over here, and we're going to deepen that a little bit. So I'm going to go with my 4B. I'm going to come into here and gently, now it's the edge of the nose here. So it comes up this way. You can see me putting a very, very little line there. And almost the same value comes down into here. And into this area that forms the area where the whiskers are. And one side is a little deeper than the other. This one is a little deeper than that one as far as the value of the gray. Okay. We're going to go a little deeper yet. Not too much. I don't want to go in as dark as, say, with my 6B. I'm using a 4B right now, yeah. That's fine. That's close enough. And then there's those, you know, where the whiskers are, which we didn't put in there yet, but there will be some whiskers. Just indication of some very light fur here, light colored fur. It's, again, basically white. Okay, so let's go here and work on this section. And we're going to go very lightly here. I want it to go a little lighter than that. Because one side seems to be a little bit more in light than the other. Seems like this side was a little bit more shadowed. Not a major difference, so we're not going to worry about it right now. And of course the mouth itself. And here in the chin, got some small fur indications here, especially in the shadowed area. So again, very gently, just putting in some shadow with my 4B, and we'll go back in, we'll blend that. And put a couple of areas where the whiskers are going to go. Okay, in here, again, we're going to go in very lightly, because again, this side of the face is basically white, like that side. So we're going to keep it that way. Now over here, against this side of the face, though, you'll notice there's a couple of lines here that represent his body. So we're going to go in and just along here, I'm going to put in a very light shadow. His neck and his body are pretty much in shadow here. So we're just going to do a little bit of graphite in there, and then we'll blend it all along here. And all along here. Here's his neck, here's the top of his neck. And we just need a little bit, just along this edge. Just let that edge stand out a little bit more. Just put a little bit of shadow in there. It might not be actually shadow. It might really be just a difference in color of the fur, that he's a little darker on his back than on his face. Okay, so let's go back in and take a look again at some of the areas that need to be reblended. I think most of it, really, we could certainly add a little more depth here and there to our boy here. I'm calling him a boy. I don't know if it's a boy or a girl, but whatever it is, it's still a beautiful animal. Not one you want to get too close to, that's for sure, but it is a beautiful animal. Okay. Let's blend this area a little bit where we just put in that very light shadow just to represent the neck and a portion of the body. Let's just blend that a little bit more. Got some fur coming down so this way. And we'll go up in here, blend that a little bit more. Just finish it off. We don't have to do any detail there. I'm not really looking for detail there. Okay, so now I'm going to take my 6B, and I'm going to put a point on it, and we're going to probably go in and do a few more lines here and there. Let's little fine lines just to indicate again, you know, the fur, the direction of the fur, where it's going, what it's doing, that kind of thing. And with the 6B, with a nice sharp point, you can go in there and you can get these marks that make it look like fur. These fine lines. I'll put a little more depth in here. And a little bit more back in here. We'll bring this darker line down along his face. And a little bit more in here. I want to deepen this a little bit. And this one, you know what? I think we need a little more darkness in here too, right up along the eyeball. We're going to blend this too a little bit here. Okay, how about some fine fur right in here? Very tiny little strokes. This is one of those things that, you know, it's kind of up to you whether you want, you know, how far you want to take it. You know, do you want it to be extremely detailed, or do you want it to be more not abstract, but, you know, just more of a sketch? It's up to you. You know, it's always up to you, being the artist, as to, you know, the look you want for your piece. That's certainly not something anyone can dictate to you, because it is your work, your work of art, and it will always be up to you. Just how you want it to look. So we're going to bring a little bit more shadow under the nose here. And it kind of goes, it almost blends in with the nostril. Just gonna blend that a little bit. Okay. See, it's just, you go back and forth and you look at, well, where do I need a little more fur? Where do I need a little more distinction between colors of this animal, or where the light and the shadow might be? Where do I have to go? So you keep looking over it, and you determine, oh, I need a little more in the ear, or I may need a little more down here, around the snout. And we might. Not sure yet. Keeping this very light on this side, a little darker on this side. Okay. All right. Let's take our blender, bring a little of this shadow up in here. I think his nose can probably use just a little bit here. Now this, as you can see, this is just the blender I'm working with. Sometimes you don't even need to pick up a pencil. If you've got enough graphite on your blender, you just use that as a pencil, which is what I'm doing right now. Don't feel the need to really, at this point, go in with a pencil, because I know that I've got enough on here to really deepen where I want to deepen it. Bringing this guy to life a little bit here. I'll put a little more, gonna go blend a little bit under here. Just deepen it a little bit. I think it needs it. This is coming down on his neck. So we'll add just an indication of some fur there. And this is across the top of his neck, going into his back. So we'll just bring a little indication of fur there. All right, this guy's coming along, I think. Okay, I think what I want to do is just smooth this out a little bit. Yeah. Okay. Let's go back with the 6. I want to come in here. Just want to add a few more deeper lines for the fur that's in his ear, and let it curl around a little bit, because the fur it does curl. I mean, it's not straight. It's not, obviously it's not short like this on the face, which is very short. Here, a little deeper in here, just to emphasize that area over his eye. Yeah, it's kind of one of those marks like a tabby cat would have. They have this thing on their forehead too, but they have these lines too. Okay, a little bit more here. And a little bit more down here. Let's go a little deeper in the nostril here. There we go. Bring out that nose a little more. Now, I've got a pretty good point on the 6, but I'm gonna sharpen it up even a little bit more, because I want to take some lines from this area, the muzzle, I guess it is, and very lightly. I'm going to bring some whiskers out here. And there are some whiskers up in here too. So that gives them a little more look like a cat because they've got those long whiskers that come out from above their eyes and from their snout. I think a little right here, I think we can probably just add a little bit more look that there's fur in here along his mouth. There we go. All right, let me deepen this up just a little bit here. And we'll go in just a little deeper here around the eye because that's a very, very dark spot around the eye. It really stands out on these big cats. A couple of more strokes here with this pencil, and I think we're just about done. Okay. Just a little bit more right here. Tiny, tiny little strokes. Just adding a little something there. So just adding that little bit more shadow around underneath the eye, and then it comes out onto his side of his face. Okay. I think our cat is done. Like I said, you know, if you want to take it further even, you could always keep putting these hair strokes in there. You can go on for hours probably doing this. I think I have actually sometimes. But I think we've got enough now to certainly indicate the short fur, the longer fur in the ears. We could let even some of that come out this way. Let it break over the ear. Maybe a little something here on his back, on his neck too. A little more indication of fur on the back. Doesn't have to be much. Just a little bit. Here. See, it's one of those things where you look at it, you say, yeah, I could do this. Oh, okay, yeah, let me do a little bit of that. Let me go there, let me do some of that. You know, but at some point you look at it and you say, that's it, I'm done. I'm done. We are finished. And I think we're just about at that point, really. So, here we have our cat. Big cat. Just going to blend that. Now, I am hardly putting any pressure on here because I'm trying not to take away the lines that make it look like fur. I'm just blending ever so lightly so that it's barely touching. I'm not obliterating the lines that I have in there because I don't want to do that. Okay. There we go. All right. There he is. There's our cat. Hope you had fun with this one. Okay, next time it looks like we're going to do some textures. Maybe we'll do some wood, some grass, you know, some things like that. And we'll talk about perspective. So hope you enjoyed doing the cat. And hope yours comes out to your satisfaction. And if not, you know, you can always do it again. It's not a problem. It's just practice. Practice makes perfect, as they say. So feel free to do what you need to do. And we'll see you next time. Take care now.